Big way for the win. Pandemonium. Absolute scene.
The hottest basketball takes, news, and analysis. This is the Fast Break Podcast with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
Welcome back into another episode on the mighty Sport Nation. There is so much to talk about. We're at the very pointy business end of the Cells NBL season. The grand final is all set for Sunday afternoon. Bit of a random time for a grand final, but
I like it.
Kind of works in our favor, to be honest, Will. So I'm not too upset the fact that it's on Sunday afternoon. It is, of course, against the Southland Sharks and the Wellington Saints. Another rematch from last year's grand final, which was an absolute hit. Of course, they played in Wellington last year. This year, Southland get the home court advantage. And I think
Shark Tank.
at the Shark Tank. I think it's ILT Stadium, I'm pretty sure it's called. This is going to be one hell of a game, and I cannot wait for 2:30 p.m. Sunday for the tip-off, Will.
Yeah, and it's great. On this episode of the Fast Break Podcast, we caught up with Carlin Davison, fresh off his big 2 playoff wins against the Otago Nuggets, and obviously that blowout against the Tuatara the other day. So it was lovely to catch up with him, talking all things about his career, and obviously heading into that grand final that you just mentioned, Finn. It's going to be one hell of a game. I'm not sure who's taking it. I still haven't decided who's going to be the Sal's NBL champions, but I know for a fact it's going to be a nail biter.
Oh, it's going to go down to the absolute wire, just like it did in last year's grand final down there in Wellington. Of course, we're going to be previewing the final very extensively between Will and I. We are the most expert basketball analysis in the Sal's NBL, of course. Now, that was a bit of tongue-in-cheek, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, if you want to skip to that, that'll be for later on in the podcast. We'll be giving our thoughts on what's going to unfold down there in Invercargill. Of course, we caught up with Carlin Davison as well. We'll have a look at all of the games throughout the playoffs. We had the elimination finals and the 2 semifinals, so we have 4 games to cover. And man, there were some very entertaining games in that round. I'm not going to lie, Will.
For sure, yeah. It's lots to talk about.
Yeah, and just before we get into this episode with Carlin Davison, just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's contributed, contributed, all the players and coaches that have come on the podcast this year, as well as all the people that have engaged, whether it's just looking at a reel or liking it or following us or watching the YouTube videos or Spotify podcasts every single week. A few of you would have saw it. Will and I were lucky enough to be named the Cells NBL Best Media Coverage, which was very, very humbling. It was nice. Like it was cool to be recognized, and just a big thank you to everybody that engaged with the podcast throughout the season. Because obviously, without you, that probably wouldn't be possible. So
well said, Finn. Well said.
Thanks, Will.
Everything he said, I agree with.
Yeah. So we're going to jump straight into this episode with the great man Carlin Davison, and we'll take a quick break. After that, we'll be back recapping the first 4 games of the Cells NBL playoffs right after that chat with Carlin Davison. Welcome back into the Fast Break Podcast with Finn and Will. We've got Carlin Davison on the line, of course, playing for the Saints this year. He's heading back to the break. He's been playing for the Tall Blacks, and he's having one hell of a year down there in the capital. Carlin, welcome into the podcast after 2 very convincing wins in the Cells NBL playoffs. How are you feeling?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. We feel good.
That good win against the Nuggets and then pulling in that momentum with that crazy win against the Tuatara. What are the vibes inside of Saints camp at the moment as you prepare for, another final for the Saints with the first one for yourself?
Yeah, I guess there were 2 really good wins, but the job's not finished yet. So, obviously we got high spirit at the moment, but we're looking forward to Sunday as well. Ready to take on the Sharks.
What sort of preparation did you guys take into those 2 playoff games so far? And what's been the messages from your coach, Aaron Young, heading into this grand final?
Yeah, pretty much all we was talking about the whole week was, obviously we played Nuggets first, but it was, can we go 1-0? We don't worry about any other games. It's can we go 1-0? So, against the Nuggets, we just want to go 1-0, and then same against Tuatara, just get that 1 win. But and I think the same mentality is to go into this final. Can we go 1-0? Job's not done still, so we got this next game against Southland, and same mentality, 1-0.
Did the quick turnaround from the game against the Nuggets, obviously being on Thursday night, then you had to travel up to Auckland to play on Saturday afternoon, is that a quick turnaround, or did it kind of work in your guys' favour to carry that momentum from Thursday night so quickly into another game?
Yeah, I think the boys were just itching to play when once we got up there. But obviously it's hard on the body. But also I think it's like Tuatara didn't play for what, like maybe 8 days. Maybe their last game was against the Airs, I think. So I think it kind of worked for us, And we already were fighting for our lives anyways in that quarterfinal. So doesn't really matter whether we played or not. But I think it helped us, worked in our advantage. So yeah.
112-69 was the final score against the Tuatara. Can you just talk to us about how you guys dominated? It was kind of a close first quarter. You started to take it away in the second, and then that third quarter you went on a 33-7 run. Can you just explain to us how you guys gelled as a team?
Yeah, 33-7. I didn't even know that. Hey man, when you got Elijah Pepper on your team, bro, it's pretty easy to go on a run like that. But no, I think really the last 3 weeks, we've been real connected, throughout, the whole team, and I think it just shows on the court, and we had the momentum in that third quarter, and I don't know, they just couldn't stop us really. And also our defense, we were getting stops, and I think our team is better when we get stops. And we're just out in transition, people flying around, Dante getting downhill, Pep shooting threes, me and H getting on the rim. It's kind of hard to stop, but yeah, man, I didn't know it was a 33-7 run, which is crazy, but yeah, I mean, we got talented people on our team, man, and it's pretty easy to score.
Yeah, you talk about talented people, and you mentioned Elijah Pepper before. Can you just talk to us about what it's been like to share the court with him this season?
No, it's unbelievable, man. The way he shoots the ball, the way he scores, like it's unique. You don't see it very often. But nah, he's a great teammate. Got a lot of time for him, as I do for all my teammates. But yeah, it's unbelievable. It's pretty easy for me to rack up around 10 assists a game, passing him the ball. But nah, it's been good to have him.
How is the team in I guess just the entire season as a whole? Obviously, you finished 15-5 on the year, one win off that top three with the other like three big teams. Do you think the team was gelled from the absolute start of the season, or did it take some time for the boys to kind of connect throughout the start of the season, or was it just straight away you boys were locked in and ready to go?
Yeah, nah. We weren't gelled at the start. We were just talented at the start, So, um, I would say the year's been up and down. Like people missing games because of injury, people missing trainings because of injury, like all that. It's been very hard for us, I think, as a team. But like I said, the last 3 weeks has been crazy. The way we all gelled. But I really think it's just like we stuck to the main goal, and everyone's bought into the right thing. But yeah, we never gelled at the start. Not that we didn't. Not it was just it was hard. We were all figuring out how to play with each other and all that. But yeah, I guess we're peaking at the right time.
Was it a hard decision for you at the start of this season to leave the Taranaki Airs, a club that you'd been a part of for such a long time?
Yeah, of course. That's my home. I love it. Here in Taranaki, I love playing. I would love playing for the Ears for my whole time in the NZNBL, but there's a lot of different things that got in the way, and yeah, it was very hard. It was I didn't want to leave, but obviously I made the decision to leave. But yeah, I will come back one day.
What was the pull factor from the Saints? Who sort of why did it stand out from the rest of the competition?
Probably the way they approached me. As soon as they approached me, they were just serious about everything. You know, they had everything. You know, dotted down like, I want this. We're gonna do this. You know, from the contract to where you're living to what car you're gonna be driving, like all that. Just professional. Like that's what their club is, and I love it down there. It's like a second home now. I've really enjoyed my time in Wellington. And Jordan Mill, great GM. Great GM, man. Like he's unbelievable. You know, anything you need, he's got it right there. And if he can't do it, then he just tells you straight up. But no, man, they're just such a professional club, and yeah, I've enjoyed my time there. So that's the reason I went there.
You went 1-1 this season with the Southland Sharks. What sort of things can you take away from those games, helping you going into Sunday afternoon?
Mm. Yeah, they're a very good team. The first game I think we played against them, was down there, and they punched us in the mouth, and gave us a good lesson. As into when you're not ready to come play, you know, you're gonna get beaten. But obviously we got them in the second game. But I think, man, it's gonna be two top level teams going head to head. I think it's whoever sits down and plays defense the best is going to come out on top, I believe. But yeah, they're really talented. We have to be on our A game for that. But yeah, I don't know. We're just looking forward to this game, mate. We can't wait.
It's your first time playing in a Cells NBL final. How are you feeling playing in this personally?
I'm excited, man. I want to win the championship, but yeah, I'm excited. I was actually talking to Jordan the other day, and I was like, man, I'm 0-2 in semi-finals, and then I was just waiting. I was like, man, third time maybe a charm, eh? Obviously, we got it done, but I'm really excited to play in this final. Never played in a final, other than Ignite Cup, but that's one of my only finals. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Colin, I want to ask about, I saw you were drafted to the Rip City Remix, the G League affiliate of the Portland Trailblazers, and like an international draft. Can you just talk to us how that works? Is that something that you can go and like activate at any point in your career, or is that not something you're focused on right now?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because me and my old agent had told me he had put my name in this draft, and I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then yeah, obviously it all went through. It was at the time of me leaving his agency and signing with a new one, so it was kind of a bit messed up. To be honest, bro, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it, so I just kind of just pushed it to the side. But I don't actually know if I can activate it. Like I have no clue. My name was there. I was drafted, and yeah. But obviously, I chose to stick with the Breakers last year, so I didn't go over or anything. But yeah, I'm not too sure about all that.
Just sticking on the Breakers, you just mentioned them there. You're heading back for another season. Was it an easy decision to make? Because I saw that you were linked to maybe a couple other teams throughout the league as well, but you're staying home. Was it an easy decision?
Um, I wouldn't say easy, but I feel like I might have made the right decision. Yeah, I was talking with other teams. Well, my agent was. But yeah, I felt like maybe one more year at the Breakers. Last year was my first year of actually playing. So I think maybe one more year with the Breakers wouldn't hurt me. But yeah, we'll see how things turn out. But very excited. I like the team we've put together.
Yeah, I obviously don't want to put your attention too far onto that next season, but I do need to get your thoughts on Gordon Herbert coming over as well. One of those coaches that's going to be the best in the NBL. Are you excited to learn from somebody with a resume like him?
Yeah, for sure, man. I didn't even, to be honest, when he signed, I didn't know who he was because I'm not actually much of a hoops head. Eh? Like I don't follow a lot of basketball and know a lot of these famous coaches and all that, or even famous players really around the world. But when I found out who he was and what he's done, any coach that's done those things is gonna be good for you, I think. So no, it'll be amazing, and I can't wait to learn from him.
And just speaking of coaches, going back to this season as a whole, Aaron Young, a very experienced coach in the domestic league. What has he done for your development as a player this year? I see your numbers are up through assists and rebounding as becoming one of those complete players across all the board. Has he helped you develop into more of a complete player?
Yeah, I would think so. I think so. Yeah, I think he just he's given me the freedom to play as kind of that point guard, I would say, and just lets me kind of do my own thing, and like I said, when you got a talented team like that, it's obviously they've helped me out a lot too. But no, yeah, Aaron's been very good for me. We get our workouts in. I think he believes in me, and which is good for me. I think I strive off people that believe in me. If I trust you and you have the belief in me to be good, then I'm gonna go to bat for you. So amazing dude, amazing coach. Look forward to seeing where he ends up after this year. So yeah.
You're one of the standout players on the Tall Blacks this latest international window. Can you just talk to us about what it's like to be able to put on that black singlet?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling, man. It's really different, when you put that jersey on. I think we've had a lot of ex Tall Blacks come in and talk to us and all that. And they all say the same thing, as in, when you put it on, it's special. I love playing for that team, and I'll always play for them as long as they let me, or keep calling my name. But no, it's amazing. Get around the brothers. You get to do a haka, which is cool as get you hyped before the game. It's an amazing feeling when you get to play for the Tall Blacks. Privilege too.
Well, Carlin, it's been an absolute pleasure being able to catch up with you on the podcast and watch you this season. It's been an absolute joy watching you play for the Saints, especially the back end of the season. You guys have been absolutely killing it. So all the best for your preparation this week, and good luck in Southland on the weekend.
Sweet. Cheers, brothers. Thank you for having me.
You're listening to the Fast Break podcast on Sport Nation with Finn and Will. Time to gaze our eyes over what unfolded in the first week of Sal's NBL playoff action. Wednesday night, we saw the Southland Sharks hosting the Tauranga Whai in the first elimination final of the season. And there was actually a very close game with a tale of two halves, I think, Will.
Yeah, I was quite nervous at moments for the Sharks in this one. I thought that the Whai were on pace for an upset, but the Sharks came back to get the job done, as I think most people expected them to. But yeah, the Whai got off to a hot start. 14. They led by 14 in the second quarter, before the Sharks ultimately came back to storm back and get that convincing win by 15 in the end.
Yeah, 96-81 was the final score. But yeah, like Will said, I was a bit nervous. I think that second quarter, man, the Whai were just making everything. Ruben Tarangi was on fire, Tane Murray, and Nick Stoddart was actually hitting some big shots as well in that second quarter. And yeah, the Sharks, they didn't look like the Sharks that I'd seen all season. I think Coach Yim, very animated on the sideline. Every time there was a timeout, he was looking a bit nervous.
Yeah.
But the Southland Sharks just have far too much talent on their team. They've been the most cohesive team all season, you could probably say, Will, up there with the Auckland Tuatara, but you know how that went. And they basically just dominated in that second half. And I think the fourth quarter in particular, they really strung away and got a big win.
Yeah, they did look like you said, a bit of a different team. I mean, part of that, I guess, is a player like Kalen Boone went off in this game, which he hasn't really done all season. He has started to find his form the later into the season we've got, but in this one he had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, 11 for 19 from the field, and 6 threes as well. So the Keelan Boone of old, like we saw from last season, I think that's what we expected from him this season. I guess it's a big game for him to do it in, so an important one. Helped lead his team to that win, but hopefully he can continue that form heading into the final this weekend.
Yeah, the big players step up when it matters, Will, and Keelan Boone did just that. He was obviously the leading scorer on the team. Like, Keelan Boone's had a interesting season. He likes to shoot the ball, like we saw last year. He had some wildly inefficient games, but there was some, I'd say, the games where he did put the ball in the hoop more than he didn't last year probably outweighed the bad games.
For sure.
I feel like this season was a bit of the opposite. I think him coming off that injury following his G League stint probably had something to do with that. Maybe took him a while to adjust back into the Sal's NBL way of playing, but he's looked good in the back end of this season. He was okay in the semi-final. We'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, Keelan Boone was excellent. But a few other players, of course, Caleb Asbury, 24 points, being by far the best player on the Sharks this year, I think you could say.
Him and Sam Timmins.
For sure. And speaking of Sam Timmins, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block on the season. Probably going to be your depoy, I think.
Exactly what you want from your
Timmins.
big man. A double-double on a nightly basis.
And this is exactly what you want to see from your leading point guard too, with Rylan Jones with a double-double, 11 points and 10 assists on the night for Rylan Jones. But yeah, the Sharks look bloody good.
For sure.
So did the Five. Ruben Tarangi, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Probably been their best player this year, you could say. Maybe Tane Murray Murray just maybe 1A, 1B, and Tane
Yeah.
Murray also had I think 20 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists on the night as well. So those
And you
two boys
mentioned
looking
Nick
good.
Stoddard as well. He finished with 16 points. But like you said, I think Tane Murray, Ruben Tarangi, definitely the standout players for the Fire this season. And unfortunate way to go out, but I think those two definitely, their stock's gone up from their season so far with the Fire.
Yeah, I think Ruben Tarangi's in some really good form leading into this Breakers season. I mean, I wouldn't say he's entering the twilight years of his career, but he's definitely a veteran. Like, he's been around for a long time, but I think he still finds ways to contribute on another level every time, whether he's using his 3-point shooting ability, which has definitely increased drastically in the last 3 years, or just using his very experienced mind to impact.
I've really liked the way he's been going downhill as well, attacking the basket.
it's
He's a
been
very
great.
strong individual, kind of almost just bulldozes his way, puts his head down. If you're getting in my way, he's just going to bump you off, and he's improved his finishing, I think, this season as well.
We saw that for the Tall Blacks too, especially
Yeah.
in that Philippines game. I thought he was bloody excellent. But let's move on to the other elimination final, the Wellington Saints hosting the Otago Nuggets. Personally, I didn't think Nuggets really had a shot. Obviously, they were in some pretty decent form leading into the elimination final. I think they finished 10-10, were clear-cut the fifth best team in the Sal's NBL. But yeah, simply just one-way traffic with the Wellington Saints, who have just really come into a ridiculous amount of form at the back end of the season.
Yeah, I think, like you said, that the Saints have found really good form at the very end of this season. So I think this was actually an impressive performance from the Nuggets, especially when we look at what the Saints ultimately did to the Auckland Tuatara. So the fact that the Nuggets kept this one relatively within reach, 94-81 was the final score. But yeah, I mean, Elijah Pepper, he's just, I mean, he's going to do whatever he wants in the end. Like,
just
33 points.
Just clear cut.
He's inevitable.
He's another player. He's on another level.
They need to do like an Elijah Pepper with the Thanos gauntlet meme or something saying, I'm inevitable or whatever.
Mate, he's just...
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Jesus. You know what I used to say throughout the NBL season, NBL 26, death, taxes, and whatever that guy's name, Bryce Hamilton 20-point games. It's death, taxes, and Elijah Pepper 28 plus, basically, in the Sal's NBL. Like, he's been that good this year.
Damn near 30. I think he's, averaged 29, I think, on the season?
Yeah, it was ridiculous numbers. And he just, oh my God. His ball scoring ability is something I have never seen in this league before. It is pretty insane.
Yeah, and if we look at his running mate as well, Carlin Davison, who we obviously just spoke to, doing exactly what has been asked of him this season, finishing with 17 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists. Like we mentioned in previous episodes, he's kind of taken a scoring dip this season, which anyone's going to do when Elijah Pepper's on your team. But the fact that his assist numbers have gone way up, 11 assists from someone who's not a traditional point guard is very, very impressive. And I think they're not just like forced assists like you see from someone like a Russell Westbrook in the NBA. They're actual good passes that are leading to getting his teammates open looks. And we also saw it with the Tall Blacks as well. He's got a knack for no look passes. He's aware of all of his teammates around him. I think he's a very, very good playmaker for someone at his size.
Severely underrated playmaker.
Yeah.
A severely underrated passer. I think we spotted him back when he was a DP on the Breakers, when he got a few minutes here and there. His ability to find people open is really good. Playing that, he's like a point forward now, you could say.
Yeah.
He's definitely molded himself into a point guard. We saw him for Taranaki last year, and he had a couple triple-doubles, and that was kind of his burst onto the scene season last year, averaged almost 19 points a game. I think 2 or 3 triple-doubles throughout the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got that athleticism. He's got that touch around the rim. He's developing a three-pointer.
Good defender.
Elite defender. I don't even think good really does it justice. An elite defender. He's becoming a high IQ player for a 22-year-old. He's got a ridiculous amount of potential. For him to be coming to the Breakers back to the Breakers for another season is great news for us. I think he's going to continue to develop, and if he can really snatch being a point forward, really transition into a pure, I wouldn't say point guard, but a point forward with his speed, athleticism, defensive ability, and ability to play make, he's almost like a Ben Simmons.
I think he's going to have a big role for the Breakers in this upcoming season.
Me too.
But the only thing that I am worried about, that we're a very stacked team in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So there is going to be a lack of minutes going around, I think. That's the only thing that could harm him, especially with, sorry to side note, but the new Breakers signing, another import, Jordan James, I think his name was. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, he's my brother.
Nice.
I think it was
You guys don't look
Jeremiah
like
something,
brothers.
Jeremiah Jordan James or Jordan Jeremiah James or something like that. I'm calling him Triple J throughout the year.
We'll see what his role develops into with the Breakers, but obviously that's going to take away from guys like Carlin.
Yeah, he's a
and
6'6",
Ruben.
two-way
Defensive-minded person.
which is
apparently.
exactly what the Breakers needed, of course. And
Yeah.
by the way, guys, in a few episodes' time, we will be doing a pretty in-depth look into the Breakers roster once it's all said and done. Hopefully going to get someone like Dylan Boucher on the line for that as well. But yeah, that was a massive side note. But hey, this is what the Fast Break podcast is all about.
Exactly.
If we turn our attention back to the Saints game.
Obviously, the other players that stood out for the Saints are Kitchelaar, Dante Ingram and Jordan Hunt all in double figures as well. And then if we briefly look over the Otago Nuggets, Boy Tuak, who I think's had an impressive season for the Nuggets compared to his stint with the Tuatara. He finished with 22 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks.
Damn,
so doing a bit of it all, yeah. And then Russ Batch with 18 points and 8 boards, the sharpshooter himself. And Elaine Luis, who had 8 points and 10 assists, exactly what you want from your point guard. He's had an underrated season as well, I think. A very good playmaker for the Nuggets down there. Craig Muller, he struggled. Obviously,
they really
mid-season signing that they had.
They needed a big game from Craig Muller, and he was like 1 for 7 from 3. Finished with 14 rebounds, but struggled a lot. But let's take a look at the semifinals, Will. These are the nitty and gritty ones. We need to really dive into this one on Saturday afternoon. Saturday afternoon? Yeah, it was Saturday afternoon. The Auckland Tuatara 69, the Wellington Saints 112 at Eventfinder Stadium in front of a pretty good Auckland Tuatara crowd. Obviously, no Chris Johnson. He was unable to return from the big three despite his team being knocked out. They couldn't get him back in time. But regardless if Chris Johnson's there or not, this is still a blowout win for the Saints.
Yeah, obviously not quite as much of a blowout, I don't think, but I think the Saints would still have got the job done.
Hey, wait, hold on. My math was really bad a couple episodes ago. Let me get this right. 43 points?
Yeah.
43 points.
Well done, Finn James. Someone get this man a cookie or something.
43
That
points.
is incredible mathematics right there from you, Finn.
If Chris Johnson's there, it's like 30-something.
Wow,
still,
really?
I reckon.
Right. You reckon 30, or would your maths be wrong? Could be something else.
No, you're a dickhead. But yeah, the Saints put on a masterclass, boys. Honestly, the third quarter, 33-7. We talked about it to Carlin. Carlin wasn't even aware of that. He was surprised, but 33-7. The Tuatara looked like a premier Wednesday night basketball team that aren't playing.
I thought we had ourselves a game after the first quarter, back and forth, and then
close.
Even the second quarter. I mean, halftime it was 60-46, I believe. Obviously, at 14-point margin going into the second half. Still thought the Tuatara could come back from that one and get the job done, but like you said, that third quarter they ran away with it, and then fourth quarter, same sort of thing until both teams essentially emptied the benches.
Not with like 6 or 8 minutes left as well.
Yeah,
but man, the Saints were just dominant. They were out hustling the Tuatara. They had the defense ability was like ridiculous from this team. I'd love to know how many second chance points the team scored because they just crashed the glass on offense as well. It was insane how many offensive rebounds the Tuatara gave up. And that's obvious. We're missing a 7-footer in Chris Johnson, Tommy V and Rob Lowe, I guess Ledger as well, your only true big men on the team. And the Saints are running quite big. Davison at the 1, Hiram Harris there as well, and no one good rebounder. Kitchelaar was on the court quite a bit as well. Yep. Geordie Hunt was on there too. And Dante Ingram, not a small guard either. This is a large team. They out-hustled the Tuatara, and I think they just wanted it more, it felt like.
Yeah, and then when you got the likes of Dante Ingram and Elijah Pepper, who can both win on their own little scoring runs at moments in this game. Pepper finishing with 32 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. Some insane threes where he just pulls up and shoots whatever the hell he wants. He's obviously got the green light to do whatever he wants from Aaron Young. And finished with a monster game. Dante Ingram, 20 points, 9 boards, 3 steals. He had a little stretch, I think, where he scored like 7 or 8 points in a row.
He looked really good.
And then Carlin Davison, 16 points, 4 boards, 6 assists. And if we look at their bench, they had Jordan Hunt, 15 points, 9 boards off the bench. And obviously, as for the Tuatara, you're only putting up 69 points in the game, so there's not going to be really many standout players. But Isaac Davidson, 15 points. He got all of them in the first half, didn't score in the second half. Tommy V with 13 points and Sean Bastow with 10 points.
Yeah, Rob Lowe needed to step up in this one. Veteran guy, a former MVP.
Josh Dilling needed to step up as well. Finn.
Those two.
Really
Josh Dilling
struggled.
finished with a donut. Rob Lowe finished with like 3 points, 7 rebounds. This is a former MVP of the competition. I don't know.
I think
they
I would
just
have liked
weren't there to play. I don't know what's going on.
I would have liked to seen the bench utilized a bit more as well.
Yeah,
Zach Riley, I think, could have come in and played more minutes in replacement of Josh Dilling, who was obviously struggling in this game. I think Zach Riley had a very, very impressive season in general for the Tuatara. And then also you got a 56% 3-point shooter on the bench, Dylan Wilkie, who I think could have probably been sent out there to try and get a bit of a spark going for the Tuatara as well. But I mean, yeah, still an impressive season from the Tuatara. Yeah.
I mean, they were the deepest team all year, we thought.
They were.
I thought they were going to win it all. Like, they looked that good, but, I mean, once again, they come up short. They still have yet to win a championship. They made three straight finals, weren't able to win one, and they've come up short once again. It just keeps happening up here in Auckland. A bit of a disappointment down the back end of the season for them. But
Yeah.
the last semi-final, this was actually a far more entertaining game than the Tuatara versus Saints, because it was very close. This is, of course, the Canterbury Rams hosting the Southland Sharks down there in Canterbury. Taylor Britt, out with concussion, and Jack Andrew, battling illness, played 16 minutes.
Off the bench.
That there was already going to be a recipe for disaster for the Canterbury Rams against a very stacked Southland Sharks team.
Obviously, down south as well in Southland. So.
No, this game was in Canterbury.
Oh, yeah, it was. The Sharks finished fourth, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Or
that's
third.
right.
They finished third, Rams second, Tuatara first, Saints fourth.
That's right.
But yeah, it was in Canterbury, and there was a massive crowd down there. And look, with no Brit, probably you could argue one of the better, probably the top 2 or 3 point guard in the competition. It was going to be a tough ask. And Jack Andrew, a very solid big, battling illness, only played 16 minutes. But yeah.
And I mean, the Rams were up in this one heading into the fourth, but a bit of a swing. The Sharks went on a 10-point run to obviously get the win in the end. But yeah, back in fourth game, I think it was anyone's heading into that fourth quarter. Sharks come away with it, and now they get the home grand final, obviously. But if we look at some standout players from this one, Finn, Caleb Asbury, as he's done all season long, 26 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks.
What a bloody stat line from Caleb Asbury.
3 blocks from a guard is probably the most impressive one there for me.
That is an absolute, like, honestly, that's almost a 5x5.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard? That's so hard.
That 5x5 is unheard of. Yeah.
What a
Very
game.
impressive.
Caleb Asbury was excellent. Rylan Jones was good. Sam Timmins, not his best game, but 12 and 9, still solid. Keelan Boone, I think, was 3 for 9 from the field. Took a backseat with other players going crazy. But yeah, the Sharks just, they delivered when it was needed the most in the fourth quarter, and they came away with the win. I think the shorthanded Rams were in a bit of trouble. Todd Withers went down with some sort of ankle injury in the second quarter. He continued to play, but really looked out of place. But if you do look at the Rams, Walter Brown was the best player on the court, which he has been a lot this season when those boys have been out.
Rene Rouget looked pretty good as well. Don't quote me on how to say that last
Rene
name.
Rougeau.
Rougeau.
Probably his best game all season as well. But yeah, look,
17, 7, 5, and 3 steals.
Yeah, the Sharks deserve this win ultimately in the end, and now we have a repeat of last year's grand final, just this time down in Southland.
It's going to be a great grand final.
We're going to talk on the other side of this quick break. We'll be back right after that. Welcome back into the Fast Break podcast on Sport Nation with Finn and Will. Time to gaze our eye over Sunday afternoon as the Southland Sharks host the Wellington Saints in the Sal's NBL Grand Final, a rematch from last year, and it was a hell of a game last season. The Saints winning as favourites, but the Sharks put on a bloody good fight last year, but the Saints did ultimately raise, geez, I don't know what banner number it is now, but they've won a lot.
And they're going into this one as the favourites as well, Finn, which surprises me, if I'm being honest.
Me
Down
too.
in the Shark tank. Obviously, the Sharks are at home. I think there's an argument that they've been the best team all season long. They obviously just fell out of that top 2 spot right at the tail end of the season, but I don't think that really speaks to how well they performed throughout the year. So I think, I'm a bit surprised with the old bookie lines.
Yeah, me too. And I was actually surprised in the semifinals. I think the Saints were like 275 outsiders going to that game against the Tuatara. And I think the Sharks were pretty heavy outsiders against the Rams. And, well, look what happened.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one hell of a game. The Saints have a chance to go back-to-back, raise whatever number banner it is, once again down at, was it TSB Bank Arena or something like that, down on the waterfront. Or the Sharks can raise another banner, which I don't think they've done since like 2018.
Their 4th banner, I believe. I think they've got 3.
2018 or 19 or something like that. It was pre-COVID for sure. They haven't won since then.
They're obviously trying to make up for last season as well. Obviously, had that team that went on that deep run with Asbury, Boone, and Josiah Alec. Jonathan Yim obviously returned for the second season this year, like we spoke to him in an earlier episode. One of the big pull factors was they wanted to run it back and rewrite their wrongs from last season. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I want both teams to win. Obviously, I've been a fan of both teams throughout the season, but there can only be one winner. So it's going to be a very, very entertaining grand final for sure.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a flip of the coin. Like, we talked to Carlin about it. Of course, he said whatever team plays the better defense on the night is going to win. That old cliche, offense wins you games, defense wins you championships. I actually do think that comes into a little bit of truth, especially when it comes to the playoff time. Southland,
I
obviously.
think that whole saying is backwards, if I'm being honest.
Really?
It's just like you need both to win.
Well,
Offense and defense. You need both to be clicking on the night to win yourself a championship. I don't think if you go out there and you're just playing pure defense, but you're not hitting shots on the other end, then you're going to win. Because that just means that the other team's playing good defense as well. Someone needs to have offense mixed in there to get the win. Like, I'm sorry, that saying is just silly.
well,
Overused.
whoever invented that saying,
We've got problems.
you got beef.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But the X factors in this game, Will.
Yeah.
Obviously on the Saints, Elijah Pepper.
Elijah Pepper.
If he has a bad game, they might be in a bit of trouble.
If he has a bad game, it's a wraps. So the Sharks win. I think it purely comes down to he needs to, if the Saints are going to win this game, at least 25 plus points
Yes.
on decent efficiency.
And the last 2 games in elimination final and a semi-final, he's proven that he can step up when the lights are pretty damn bright. He had 33 against the Nuggets and 32 against the Tuatara. Probably could have gone for 40 if he'd played the entire game against the Tuatara as well.
The Sharks'
So-
game plan, I think, has just got to be contain Elijah Pepper. They got to do everything going into this game, double team him, triple team him even in some certain scenarios, and put your best defenders on him every single possession. He's obviously the keys to the Saints winning this game. So I think if the Sharks can lock him down, then they're on pace to win the championship, in my opinion.
If Pepper does have a bad game for the Saints to win, if like you just said they basically can't, but if they wanted to have a chance, who would you pick to step up and pick up his lack of scoring if something drastically does happen to Elijah Pepper?
I think Dante Ingram.
Here's a
if I'm being
chance.
honest. I think he's shown flashes where he can have scoring bursts, go on little runs of his own, score 6, 7, 8, 9 points in a row, whatever it is. I would say a player like Carlin Davison because he's obviously very talented, but I think he's so in that mindset from the way he's been playing this season where he's a playmaker. I don't really see him just suddenly turning into an offensive powerhouse in one game. I think he's going to have that mentality of finding his teammates throughout the game. So I think if Pepper's struggling, it's got to be Dante Ingram. But yeah, I think ultimately it's either Pepper or nothing for the Saints. I think he's got to have a good showing. If he has a great showing, I think they've got one hand on the cup already. I think if he goes for like 30 plus, then I think, yeah,
It's a steep mountain to climb.
it's going to be a tough one. And then, I mean, there's players you can say the same thing about on the Southland Sharks end. I think Caleb Asbury's obviously been their best scorer all season long. He's had a couple games where he's just hasn't been able to put the ball in the hoop, but he's also had games where incredible efficiency. We've obviously mentioned it multiple games throughout the season. I think he's obviously the X factor for the Sharks.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I mean, we've seen Keelan Boone, he has the ability to go off for some massive games. If Keelan Boone and Asbury are firing, and Sam Timmins is just there playing some defense, which I'd say he'd probably be the depoy this
Grabbing
year.
boards.
Just getting down, he's averaging a double-double, so just pull down boards, try to contain their bigs like Hiram Harris, Jordan Hunt, Ketchelaire, and just, score like 12, 13, 14 points. And then you just have someone like Rylan Jones just facilitating. That's how the Sharks have been playing all year. You have that two-headed monster of Asbury and Boone just putting the ball in the hoop.
Yep.
And then you have someone like Braden Inger just hitting a couple threes. Cooper comes on, hits a couple threes.
Tobias Cameron's coming off the bench as well.
Yeah, so this is a stacked team, and they don't even have Max Darling. Imagine if they'd had Max Darling all year.
Who's also, I just saw there was a post that he would be out for the whole season, which obviously there's only one game left, but he is struggling with that calf injury all season long.
Barely played.
Yeah.
He's incredibly injury prone now.
For sure.
Regardless, completely sidetracked again. We always do that, don't we? It's kind of funny. But both teams have the ability to win this championship. It is so obvious. Both teams have the ability to blow out either team, but I think both
It just
teams...
depends who's firing on the night, ultimately,
Correct.
I think. Which players pop off, which coach has written up the better game plan for how to contain the other team's best player. I think that's what it comes down to, ultimately. The coach.
I think home court advantage is going to play a big
Yes.
part in Southland Sharks potentially raising another banner. The Southland Sharks fans... We've talked to Timmins about it. We talked to Jonathan Yim. They are just like nothing else in this competition. Apparently, they are just so unique. There was even little blow-up Sharks down in Canterbury, or up in Canterbury, wherever you are in the country, obviously. And they travel with the team. And the Shark Tank is a hostile place to play, and it's going to be one hell of a game, Will.
I'm going to put it to you now, Finn. We've obviously just done our preview of how we think the game is going to unfold, but I want a straight answer. Who do you think is raising the banner in their arena this season?
Sharks by 6.
Sharks by 6. You heard it here from Finn James.
You?
I've got the Sharks as well. I think this is a toss-up game, and I slightly lean the Sharks because of, like you said, home court advantage.
By?
In the Shark
How
tank.
many?
I'm going Sharks by 2.
Ooh, very
No,
close.
I'm going Sharks by 1
Oh my-
on a game winner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sharks Caleb Asbury hits a game-winning driving layup.
Tune in,
Yeah.
2:30 p.m., Sky Sport. Thoroughly looking forward to it. We're going to wrap the podcast and the show on the other side of this break. Welcome back into the Fast Break podcast on Sport Nation. Time to wrap it all up. If you are just tuning in on Sport Nation, please head to the Fast Break podcast Spotify or YouTube. You can catch all of the goodies that we've unfolded in this episode, including our chat with Carlin Davison. We had a look at the recap of the first 4 games in the Cells NBL playoffs, and of course, we have the final on Sunday afternoon. Sharks versus Saints. Will and I both have the Sharks winning in a very close one. It is a genuine coin toss, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what unfolds there. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out before we get out of here, Will. The Commonwealth Games are on.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 3x3 women's team. They actually got the bronze medal. And a big shout out to the men's team as well. They unfortunately did come up short, finished 4th. A loss against England and then a loss against Scotland in the bronze medal match. But I thought I'd just give a quick shout out to those teams playing in Glasgow.
We're going to have to find a new segment here. The Fast Break Podcast MVP is officially in the books for 2026. So any ideas, guys, drop them down below. But we're going to come up with a new segment for this final stretch of the podcast heading into the next NBL season, obviously coming up.
God, speaking of that NBL 26 season, I am so bloody excited for that. And I'm sure we're going to try our absolute best to deliver some more hard-hitting journalism on the Fast Break podcast.
Do we do a Fast Break Podcast MVP NBL edition?
Maybe we will.
Ooh.
Might have to see. And
Stay tuned.
You're going to have to stay tuned. But I'm thoroughly looking forward to this weekend, of course. Sunday afternoon, actually. You better tune in, and we'll be covering it all again right here on the Fast Break podcast in a week's time. We will see you then.